Hey, what's up everybody? It's Mr. Janes. Thanks again for tuning in here on YouTube. Don't forget you can chime in every morning, grab yourself a coffee and join the breakfast club, ask some questions, participate live on Twitch. Otherwise, thanks for everybody hitting the subscribe, likes, and follows. Remember to pass us along and recommend it to a friend. And so here's Cameron with the headlines. See ya. Hello, good morning everybody. Good morning mushrooms. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, and misters, welcome to today's show. It's time to break down the news. I'm Mr. Janes for English Otherwise, and in 1 second we're going to be highlighting the headlines to improve your understanding of the English language and maybe even a little bit more about this crazy, crazy world. Let's jump into the headlines. When we're talking about ancestors, typically we're talking about the people who came before you, but farther removed than your grandparents, because otherwise they're just kind of your relatives. However, it is from our ancestors that we inherit a lot of our characteristics and our DNA, but also we inherit from them our heritage, our cultural traditions and wisdom, which is passed down or inherited through the generations. And just like we have the idiom that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. However, a chain is made of separate links, just like we have links on the internet which connect two different things. These links connect to each other and form that chain around your neck. Now, if you're pulling on a chain, any one of those links could break, and so then the entire chain would be then, well, useless and ineffective. And so, just like we use that metaphorically, here we also use it in business, talking about supply chain, because you have the producers of raw materials and then the people who deliver those to then manufacturers who take the raw materials and create them into products. You have teams that then market those products and they ship them to then the people who distribute to consumers, let's say grocery stores, supermarkets, etc., as plants close. Plants, in this case, are factories, manufacturing facilities. Just like plants, the actual bushes and trees and things produce fruit and other types of food. That's how we end up with plants for manufacturing that produce other goods. Tyson, are we talking about Mike Tyson? No. Think not. Not the former boxing great and occasional movie star. Tyson is one of the largest poultry or chicken, air quotes, why? It's not figurative. One of the largest poultry or chicken producers in the United States, maybe even the world. The supply chain is breaking, which means we could be seeing some food shortages. Indigestion, where then the acid from your stomach, acid reflux, it starts flowing back upwards, causing extreme pain amid mounting speculation. Now again, mounting. When you're thinking of mounting, think of mountain. If you have a mountain in front of you, that means you have to go up. And so if something is mounting, it means going up. To mount is also the verb we use for getting onto a horse. Speculation is just making guesses or developing a theory about something, but without firm or solid concrete evidence. And so, maybe a bit of, you got some ideas from this and from that, and it's not completely unbased. However, you don't have really firm or hard evidence to support your theory, and so it's just really making guesses. What if somebody is driving something, much like if you are driving a car, you are the one controlling it, and you are the one that has the power to push it forward, to make it go forward by stepping on the gas pedal. And so Trump is driving her balancing act to the limit, so it's really difficult for her to continue balancing. The prevalence, the quality of being prevalent. Now, what does prevalent mean? It means widespread, it's everywhere, and it's fairly common. And so here, to measure how widespread and how common COVID-19 is. And so they're using sewage, or when you flush the toilet. all of the stuff in the water goes down through the hole into the sewers, the sewage or sewer system. And so it's that wastewater and stuff that goes from your toilet. And so scientists are taking a look at, a word from weeks past, to monitor. They're monitoring the sewage, the stuff flowing through the pipes, to measure how common COVID-19 really is. Here, the verb, it's a verb, to flock, but a flock, usually used as a noun, is a group of birds, and specifically the same type of birds. A bunch of birds of the same type come together, and so then they often fly somewhere together. And so crowds are coming together and going together to California's beaches. We're going to have another word coming up towards the end of this, which is different, but used in pretty much the same or similar fashion. So keep that one in your mental pocket. Basically, to keep away from or to stay away from, it's just a common construction. There's nothing really technical to explain, but to keep, in this case, means stay. The idea of cage homes does not sound very appealing to me, but yeah, housing crisis in Hong Kong. To shake something up like that, like think of a can of Coke or some other carbonated beverage. If you shake it up, then all of the molecules and the gases are disturbed within that, so when you open it, it explodes. Be different than it had been before due to some disruption. Here, the Beatles hosted a Yellow Submarine sing-along to host something, commonly mixed up due to false cognates in other languages. Think of it this way: if host, home. And so if you are hosting something, or if you are the host, that means you are the one receiving the guests. And so think of hosts, home, and guests go somewhere else. Guests go to the host's home. And yes, allergy season and mosquito season is back in Barcelona. It's not polite to point your fingers at people, just like it's not polite to stare. We got the prefixes over and under, not physical, over the table, under the table, no, but over meaning, oh, that's under, sorry. Under meaning not enough, and over meaning too much. And so he's saying that they put too small of a value. Soccer league delays tests for players. To delay something. Last week we had to push back. Now often the idea with back is behind us, and so this phrasal verb can be confusing. However, in this case it's not back behind, but back just meaning away, and we're always moving forward in time. We're pushing it further away from us in time, and so to push back, to delay, or then we've got another P verb, to postpone. So to delay, to push back, to postpone. That is the question. It means control over its emotions or its mental state. And so if it loses it, it's losing its mind. Its mind is blown, much like my head looks like it's being blown. I don't know about you, I've had a few bad tuna sandwiches. I love me a tuna sandwich, but a bad one can cause some problems. Mattered, if something matters, it just means that it is important to you. Ingenious designs to fight coronavirus. Ingenious just means brilliant, particularly clever and creative. Agony just means extreme pain, but it can be physical pain, it can be mental pain, it can be emotional pain. And to extend, meaning to make longer. And then in the past we've had the word prolong. Prolong just means extend in time. And so extend can be about time, but it can also be about physical distance, whereas prolong is only about time. So they want a probe, an examination or an investigation into a Saudi-backed takeover. Now, with this idea of back, we've had in the past back. If somebody has your back, it means they're behind you, they're helping push you forward, they are supporting you. So a Saudi-supported takeover. And last week as well, we had to overtake and to take over. To overtake as one word with the prefix over as a prefix just means basically two cars and one passes the other. That's in terms of driving, but if something catches up to and passes the other, that's to overtake. To take over means to take control of something. Or an outrageous suggestion as an adjective here means completely wild or shocking. Now maybe it could be offensive, because if we have just the word as a noun outrage, it means the public or somebody else's anger about something. But outrageous just means wild and controversial and shocking. Price gouging. To gouge just means to make a hole in something. It's very visual and it's very violent. Typically we use it with like to gouge out somebody's eye, like with your thumb or something. But in this case, price gouging is people taking advantage of a situation, exploiting that situation financially, and overcharging, charging too much for standard goods. Feds are targeting companies which are practicing price gouging as the states and hospitals swarm private markets for supplies. And so, because the federal government is not supplying the goods to states and hospitals, the states and hospitals are going to private markets, let's say eBay or something like that, to get their supplies. And people on in those private markets are overcharging for masks and so on. But so states and hospitals are swarming private market. We had a synonym up above earlier that was very similar. And not actually a synonym, but in its use it's a synonym. It was about a group of birds. A swarm is typically a group of insects. But yes, coming together and doing some sort of action. Just like bees, or hornets or something, if you kick their nest, if you disturb their nest, they will swarm at you, stinging and so on. And so to swarm is to collectively go and invade or attack something. Supreme Court denies, have had it before, to deny, to say no to something. Denies a request to suspend this rule. To suspend just means to pause, to stop something temporarily. Quite literally it means to hang. And so if something is hanging in the air, it's not going up and it's not going down, it's just paused in midair. But a donation, to donate, typically to give time or to give money to somebody else, and typically a charity. A year ago, to premiere, just to do or show something for the first time. So we've got to premiere or to debut. But so that is Monday morning breaking down the news. Thank you to everybody who jumped in. Great way to end the broadcast. Waldo decided to join us. Say hi to the nice people. Later, everybody. Premiere means okay. Sorry, gotta jump out of this. Yep, and that's wrap. Another day breaking down the headlines. Thank you, Cameron. And remember, everybody, recommend it to a friend, pass us along, and keep the ball rolling. Have a beautiful day.